Hey guys, welcome to another video on my channel. In today's video, we are going to be taking a closer look at the differences between the Spectre and the Inquisitor. So many of you, as of late, have been actually asking me about the differences between the two. You are thinking about purchasing, either one or the other, and you're not really sure which one is the better buy. So hopefully this video is going to be able to guide you in the right direction. Unfortunately, it isn't going to be like a clear-cut answer here, and I know many in Champion League will say definitely the Spectre, but there are a couple of things that I feel that players do need to be warned about. So anyways, let's get started here. So first of all, in my lineup here, as you can see, I do have a Spectre Mark II level 12. It has 132,000 health, not a lot of health, and I also have an Inquisitor here, just your regular level 12, but you can see that it has 165,000 health, so it actually has more health than the Spectre. So the difference here is that for this one here, I actually had to upgrade it 24 different levels. So first of all, you upgrade it 12 levels, then you have to enhance it, then you have to upgrade another 12 levels in order to get to 132,000 health. This Inquisitor, I only had to upgrade 12 levels before I get to this point. So if you compare the two, obviously the Inquisitor wins because it has more health, and I also didn't have to use as much silver and resources in order to get to this point. So that's a very big difference. If you take a look at the two, obviously they both have jump, they both have stealth. However, the Spectre has more firepower, and obviously it's a lot faster. So you always have that to think about as well. But here's the thing, and this is sort of the big kicker for me, is the Spectre, although you have 4 medium weapons, you do have to think about the cost and the resources required to actually do a build like this. First of all, you have 4 Orkans, so you'll have to purchase 4 Orkans, and you have to upgrade all of them, and that's a lot of silver. We're talking a lot of silver. Whether you go Orkans, Storm is, I believe, actually even more expensive than the Orkan to upgrade. If it's not that, then it's Tyrants or like Punishers or whatever it is. You have to consider that you're upgrading 4 weapons for that bot, and you have to upgrade the bot because obviously that doesn't have that much HP. If you take a look at the Inquisitor, for your medium weapons, the 2 main weapons that a lot of players tend to use is either Orkans or Tyrants. Tyrants, pretty easy to acquire, and if you do decide to go the Ember or the Redeemer route, it's just really one component weapon, so you don't have to worry too much about resources. So overall, I think the Inquisitor is actually a more cost-effective, and there's obviously more value in the Inquisitor over the Spectre. However, if you do have the resources, then I think in high-level Champion League play, we're talking about the top clans out there, most likely on iOS and Android. A lot of players tend to run heavy Spectre hangars. So if you can afford it, obviously this is the better buy, but in terms of value, I think the Inquisitor is actually the best way to go. But now that we've kind of covered the two, I actually wanted to show you some gameplay because sometimes there are cases, as you saw at the start of this video, I was kind of showing you different clips. There are times where sometimes the Inquisitor actually excels over the Spectre, so it really depends on the situation too. So what I actually did was I decided to run a hangar or a lineup where I had one Spectre and one Inquisitor in my lineup, and I'm going to be showing you that gameplay now, and then you guys can kind of make your decisions on the on the two, and maybe in the comment section as well, let me know which one you would choose if you had a choice. Okay, so I dropped in on carrier map, and this is domination mode. I actually wanted to do some live commentary here, but unfortunately my recording software kind of messed up. I recorded my gameplay, but didn't record my commentary for some reason. But the gameplay is what I really wanted to show you guys. So I figured, I can kind of salvage this here. The reason why is because it showcases the value of the Inquisitor and the Spectre. It's not necessarily one bot is better than the other because it really depends on the situation. Sometimes the Inquisitor is actually a better bot to use than the Spectre, but a lot depends on what's running out there. So I have that, and I also switched up my lineup. I do have a Butch with Dragoons and Ember. I threw that in because the Butch is actually a lot cheaper now for players, and maybe players might opt for the Butch over the Fury. So I figured, let's do some builds for that, just so that you guys can see whether it works or not, or maybe you might want to consider it, or maybe you are building towards it and you're not sure how well, it works in Champion League gameplay. So I do have that, and I also have a Fuging with Terrans. But yeah, I started off with my Balkazari, mostly because it has a lot of health, has a physical shield, has a lot of firepower, and obviously the dash. And I don't know if you guys can see the top left corner of your screen, there is an eyeball. That player accidentally over-jumped, and he ended up jumping off the carrier map, it seems. But yeah, in the comment section below, actually, has that happened to you yet? Hasn't happened to me yet, but I'm expecting it to happen at least once. It's probably going to happen during one of my live streams. Always funny things happen during my live streams for some reason. But yeah, anyways, getting back to this game, I saw a lot of action happening on the left side, so I moved a little bit to the right side. And this is where I saw this player. You know, he had an energy shield, so I figured he might be in a Hechi with Orkans. That's why I kind of dashed to my left side. There's a player in front of me, or at least to the left. I noticed he was actually facing the wall. Figured, you know, after he got taken up, maybe he lost his connection there. Anyways, this Garrett started charging towards me, and I was getting hit by Orkans or something on my left side. So that's why I kind of moved a little bit away from that left side to the right, and I figured maybe I can kind of corner shoot and do some damage with my remaining Balkazari here. I only had 20,000 health anyways. I got taken up by a Tempest, it seems, and this is when I dropped into my Butch with Dragoons and Ember. So I wanted to throw this in mostly because Dragoons have that range of 600 meters, Ember has a range of 350 meters, and my thinking is, you know, if I happen to, for whatever reason, you know, land on a smaller map like Moon Map or Power Plant, at least my build wouldn't suffer too much because I would have, you know, the Embers to actually brawl with. So that was my thinking behind this build here. And what I'm doing is I'm basically just scanning to see anyone who is within that 600 meter range, if I can hit them or wear them down. And if they get a little bit too close, then at least I have my Embers to help deal with that immediate threat. So you can see here I'm trying to move a little bit to the left side. I see these guys are, you know, 400 meters, and you'll see me the minute I get to about like 370 or so, I'm going to be switching over to my Embers, where I try to see if I can actually roast them up on the left side here, but I think they're hiding behind that ramp there. So this is where I start to get a little bit more aggressive with this build. So now I'm actually kind of brawling with my Butch instead of sitting back and using, you know, those Dragoons. These players did kind of go over the ramp here, so this is when I started to fire my Embers. What I also did with this build was I positioned my Embers on the higher setting of the Butch, because this allows me to actually fire over like lower lying you know, buildings and structures. For example, on Power Plant map I could actually fire the 2 Embers over some of the buildings, so that's why I kind of positioned, or I put those Ember weapons on the top like that. And I noticed that there was a Spectre shock train who was trying to hit me from that right side. So that's why you see me look on the right side. And I do see him kind of moving across through the tunnel here. So I know that that's going to be a threat soon. And this is when I decided to roast up this player in front of me. I think he actually lost connection too. So now I'm thinking, you know, maybe this is a 5v5 kind of game. But yeah, I got taken out, and this is kind of where I'm kind of analyzing what's going on. So I do see a Spectre shock train and I see a Hechi. Now I could have brought up my Spectre Orkans, but I decided to actually choose my Inquisitor instead. And the reason why is because the Inquisitor has more health. If I do get hit by shock trains, at least I can, you know, survive for a little bit longer. The Inquisitor also has jump, it has stealth, and it's very deadly because obviously, you know, I have the Ember and I have Terrans. I actually wanted to run the Ember and Orkans, which is another deadly build, but unfortunately I didn't have a Mach 2 level 12 Orkans. I just kind of went with the Terrans. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of just scanning the battlefield. I'm looking to see their ranges, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the left side so that I have more cover and I don't get hit by secondary hits from the shock trains. And I'm trying to sneak up as close as possible. I do see that Spectre jump up there. He kind of was out of my view, but then I saw him afterwards. I can see him moving towards our beacon, and this is when I decided to take him out. So that was a pretty easy kill. And then I did see a player to my right side, so I kind of looked there, try to see if I could take that player out. and they were attacking my teammate on that side. So I figured, you know what, I'd just keep on firing and hopefully he would back up into my Ember, but he did get taken out. And again, I'm just looking to see what's going on. I did see a player dash in towards center. And I do see shock trains on that other side. And this is when I saw a Rhino on our team kind of just bum rush the center. He's going to get that beacon. So I went forward and I just decided to jump and attack. Just to help him out, to make sure that, you know, they stay away from that beacon and we can aggressively push. And this is when I decided to fire at that one player back there. And I did see that they had an Inquisitor, and I thought, you know what, I'm in trouble because I just jumped and I'm out of stealth here. So I had to kind of fall back and kind of roll over the side there so I could get behind cover. So what happened here is that I did see that one player in the Spectre jump back. I saw that he actually was within range and he had low health. What happened was I jumped and I didn't lock onto him, and my targeting unfortunately just switched you know, back and forth there, and that's why I wasn't able to take him out. I did see a Hechi down under this tunnel here, so I just decided to engage, and luckily I won. At this point I only have my Ember now, and he's thinking about taking me out here, but the thing is the Ember can actually shoot a little bit around the corner, so I tried to lead him and I was able to take him out. I tried to do the same for this other player, but unfortunately he had splash damage and he was able to knock me out with that. And this is at the point where I decided to now drop into my Spectre Orkan, because I didn't see that many shock trains on the other side, so I know that you know, it helps to increase the survivability of the Spectre, because as you know, even at Mach 2 level 12, it only has 132,000 health, which is less than that of the Inquisitor that I had, which isn't even Mach 2. So I brought this out now. Again, scanning the battlefield, looking to see who is within you know, close range of that 300 meters. And I did see this one player here on the left side. I decided to go for him instead of the Lancelot on my right, because the Spectre is obviously a lot deadlier bot and a bigger threat, so that's why I went for him. I took out this Lancelot here, and then, you know, I was obviously getting roasted up because I was exposed. I had no stealth left. I finally managed to knock that guy out, and, you know, I went down pretty quick, but I did manage to get that beacon. At this point I'm thinking, you know, I'm down to my last bot. I'm looking at the beacon bar, not exactly in our favor here, and we've only got 1 minute left, and there's 5 of us now and there's 3 of them. So I'm thinking, okay, we have to aggressively push here because we've only got 1 minute left and our beacon bar's not looking too good. So I decided to push through with my fuging. Now, as I'm moving further up here, I notice that we have 2 Furies and a Natasha. So obviously 3 guys can't really aggressively push because they're too slow. And I do see a Carnage Zeus in the distance there on my team trying to get a beacon. At this point I'm thinking, okay, so it's up to the Carnage and myself to try to turn things around in like 30 seconds. The Carnage is trying to get that right beacon. That's kind of where I'm moving towards, and I do see a hover there, so I'm going to try stop the hover, and then I'll deal with the Lancelot to the left side afterwards. But I'm looking at this point, you know, the Lancelot managed to take out my teammate, and there's 15 seconds left. At this point I'm thinking we're probably not going to win this. Beacon bar's obviously not in our favor, and we're not going to turn things around. So I try to get in as much damage as possible, but the fuging actually ended up doing really well for me, actually, considering, you know, what was happening here, but unfortunately wasn't able to come away with the win here. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of show you guys how the Inquisitor can actually be a very effective bot, and a lot also depends on the situation. Obviously the Spectre has a lot of firepower and it is a good bot, but it doesn't have a lot of health, and sometimes the Inquisitor is actually a better bot depending on the situation. So I just wanted to kind of show that to you guys. And the other question I know that you guys are going to be asking me directly, but Adrian, if you had to choose between the Spectre and the Inquisitor, which one would you choose? Now keep in mind that I do have the resources to actually level things up quite a bit here, and for me I actually do still prefer the Spectre, even despite the fact that it doesn't have that much health, has a lot of firepower, and also my favorite build right now is the Spectre Storm build. But to a player that is building up their hangar, you know, the Inquisitor is definitely a very good bot. You can have a lot of firepower. and you have the jump and the stealth there, obviously, and you could see how I was able to take out a lot of players using just one of these. So definitely a very good bot. And yeah, so that pretty much answers that question. And once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, consider subscribing. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.